Believe we are. We should be live. All right, folks, welcome to Gamcast for Thursday. We're here today to talk about it took them 3 days for a fascist judge to ignore the Supreme Court's ruling stopping nationwide injunctions. Going to break it down for you here. Gamcast, the Atlanta litigator for almost 30 years, that breaks down the news of the day through the lens of the law, history, and the Constitution. So, folks, as you know, last Friday, the last day of the term, we got a ruling in Trump versus Casa. That was a case that was about birthright citizenship. But if you recall, the Supreme Court punted on that issue and decided to take up the idea of nationwide injunctions, which, as we discussed in a prior video, wasn't really a thing until the 60s and really hasn't become a huge thing until Trump 2.0. And of course, it was 6-3. And as the fascists, they don't care. They want judicial tyranny as long as it's on their side. Now, the majority is going to see something here. There was a concurring opinion by Alito. I'm going to come to that in a moment, but it's just important to understand it was 6-3, and all the conservatives, quote unquote, Republicans signed on to the 6, saying you can't do nationwide injunctions. But there was a little bit of a split between the true conservatives, being Alito, Thomas, and Gorsuch, which I will come to. Shortly after the opinion was released, and here's Norm Eisen, he's part of the legal lie machine, former Obama guy. This is a lie as usual. While I disagree with the decision, it leaves injunctions to the birthright EO in place. It just narrows them to the plaintiffs. It doesn't limit nationwide class actions, which will achieve identical outcomes. That brings us to the concurrence, folks. Why would the conservatives who signed on to Amy Coney Barrett's decision issue an occurrence? Well, he issued a concurrence because he wanted to make another point. And here's Justice Alito, was also signed by Thomas and Gorsuch. The universal injunction will return from the grave under the guise of, quote, nationwide class relief, and today's decision will be little more than a minor academic interest. Well, he seems to be prophetic, because yesterday, Judge Moss, a Obama appointee, absolutely certified a nationwide class action. And folks, just so you know, this is impossible. This is complete nonsense. I'll prove it to you. You cannot file for a class action and then certify that class action within a couple days. Under the federal rules, you get 20 days to respond to a motion. And with a class action, which I've done before many times, it is very difficult to get. Number two, you have to have commonality in class actions. There's no way asylum claims for all these different people is commonality. So anyway, we'll see what happens. He's completely ignoring the Supreme Court because he's a fascist. He doesn't care. Trump cannot leave that border open. So I'm guessing he's going to ignore this. Anyway, if you enjoyed this, please subscribe, like, comment, share. And if you do, you will see me on the next one, which will be Monday, folks. Not having one tomorrow.